Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of X-Men Apocalypse. So, for whatever ridiculous reason, my favorite X-Men and my favorite superhero, period, is not on this awesome X-Men 90s shirt, so I had to bring her along in Funko Pop form to represent my girl, Storm. Also a big reason I was so excited for X-Men Apocalypse. However, having Storm in there also made me a little bit nervous because I saw they were already changing so much about her backstory that it was like, ugh, I just have to forget all about the comics, forget everything I know about Storm, and just go in clean. And I think if you're an X-Men fan, period, you're going to want to go in pretty clean, pretty open-minded, because this story is not going to follow the Apocalypse story you know and love. But Apocalypse as a film is a good, solid movie, and overall, I enjoyed myself. I just enjoy being a part of the X-Men universe whenever possible, and this movie does a good enough job that I had a good time. And while I have several complaints we'll get to, I still have to recommend this movie. So the biggest positive is definitely still this cast. I mean, James McAvoy is fantastic. Doesn't have as much to do here as he did in Days of Future Past, but he still brings so much gravitas to his role that I just think he's a really good Professor Xavier. It's going to be so hard to get over Patrick Stewart not being around anymore, but James McAvoy is a pretty good replacement. As well as Michael Fassbender. He is so good. And really, I think he is the acting shining star here in this film. I think he was really solid in First Class and Days of Future Past, but this is Michael Fassbender's shining performance as Magneto. He is the one who's given so much of an arc to his character here. He's given so much to do and so much heavy lifting when it came to the acting department, and he pulled it off with ease. Jennifer Lawrence, she was fine. I mean, as Mystique, I haven't really been a fan of hers. I just loved Rebecca Romijn in the role. And Jennifer Lawrence has just been lacking some sort of charisma that Rebecca Romijn brought to it. But she was fine here. I mean, she's good. She's a good actress. She brings herself into the role just enough, but nothing too special from her. I'm so glad we have Rose Byrne back. She's so good. I love watching her whenever she's in anything. But she really brought so much to her role of Moira Taggart that I was just happy she was back in the fray, and I hope they keep her around this time and don't just ditch her character right in the next film. Then Evan Peters, I know everybody was loving him in Days of Future Past. I think you'll love him here again. He's just so charming. I will complain a little bit because I think they did a retread of Days of Future Past with this character. And once you see the movie, you'll know, and you'll be like, okay, I mean, this is still fun, but it's basically the exact same thing you did last time. However, Evan Peters is just so charismatic, so funny, so charming that you kind of don't care. I mean, it's still a good time, even as you're thinking, I've seen this before. You're like, but I still love it. And then Nicholas Hoult as Beast is also still pretty solid. So let's go ahead and just go on to the brand new characters and the new actors in these roles that we're introduced to here in this film. So Ty Sheridan was a great Cyclops. I thought he was really funny. He brought so much character to a character I don't really care for. Cyclops is just like a boring goody two-shoes a-hole to me 90% of the time. But here, he's still kind of an a-hole, but he's not a goody two-shoes, and he was just a fun character. It was fun to see him kind of come into his powers, and I thought Ty Sheridan did a great job to sell it. I also loved Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. She just looks the part so much that it's amazing right from the get-go. And I think she does a great job of selling her role as well. I have a problem with Jean Grey as a character though, but we're going to get to that a little bit later. And I thought Nightcrawler was fun. He was funny. I really enjoyed him pretty much every time he happened to be on screen. And then we look over at the X-Men. Angel is given almost nothing to do, but I mean, he does fine. Olivia Munn also not given all that much to do. She's serviceable for what she's asked. I think the character of Psylocke was pretty awesome and some of the things she displayed. But Olivia Munn as an actress wasn't asked to do all that much. And then Alexandra Shipp is my girl Storm. And Storm as well, not given too much to do. I don't know. She was kind of just there the majority of the time. And they messed with her backstory so much that I was like, oh, why are you doing this to Storm? So let's go ahead. Let's get to the big baddie, Apocalypse. I think Oscar Isaac was very solid in the role. To be honest, Apocalypse doesn't look all that much different than those first images. I mean, they improved him slightly, but he still didn't look that good, in my opinion. And I have to give kudos to Oscar Isaac for being able to emote at all through those prosthetics and that not so great makeup, because it looked like he could barely move his face. So I thought his voice did a great job casting emotion and creating intimidation. And, you know, he emoted as best as you possibly could. I really wish they had made Apocalypse motion capture. I think the character itself would have just looked better. And I think it would have really been able to showcase Oscar Isaac as an actor, because he's such a good, charismatic, fun actor to watch on screen, and then they just douse him in, you know, all of this crap that he can't act through. So that was a shame. Plus, I didn't really like what they did with Apocalypse's backstory, his origin story. It was all just a mess. I was like, oh God, what are you doing to this character? I'm not really sure where we're going with this, why we're doing this. His power set was super undefined, even more so than it has been in the past. And he was clearly very powerful, and he was a dangerous villain. There are many times where we see death happen on screen throughout this entire movie. And there was an element of devastation whenever Apocalypse was around. But they didn't define his character all that much, and they didn't really give him all that much to do. So Apocalypse just kind of was a meh character. He was so underdeveloped that he was the big baddie, but the big baddie who we didn't really connect with at all. And that leads me into my negatives. Just overall, Apocalypse's storyline was a bit of a mess. I didn't like what they did to Storm's origin story. And just some random things he did with his horsemen made absolutely no sense to me. Like, the transformations were so random, hit or miss. I didn't really understand what the purpose was. You know, why did Storm's hair go white? Why did Angel get these tattoos on his face? Why did Olivia Munn get literally nothing? Like, Cyclops got no sort of transformation. As well as Magneto. I mean, he was given a helmet he already had. So what was the rhyme? What was the reason to really transforming Angel, kind of transforming Storm, and then doing literally nothing to your other two horsemen? I didn't get it. Also, the editing style was pretty bleh to me. The whole first act had so much fat that needed to be trimmed off. And really the whole movie had quite a bit of fat that I would have liked to see trimmed out of the final product. But that first act especially drags, because we're going through this origin story, bouncing back and forth, and it just didn't feel like a good, fluid film. And that's the case throughout the entire thing. So in X-Men Days of Future Past, they do the back and forth between the old characters and the young characters, and it worked perfectly. Here, they kind of do a back and forth between the X-Men storyline and the Apocalypse and him assembling his Four Horsemen team storyline. And they don't transition well. They don't bounce back and forth properly throughout the film, so it just feels really lopsided and uneven, and it never gets into the groove. And then this is a spoiler alert, so if you don't want to know spoilers, click off now. Okay, you've been warned. If you're still around, you're okay with spoilers from here on out. Jean Grey's Phoenix storyline still is not getting done right. I mean, I just don't understand what's going on. I guess I understand the whole outer space thing is a little bit far-fetched for a realism film like these, but what what is this storyline that the Phoenix just comes out from within her? I don't get it. You already tried that with X3. It failed miserably. And now here we go again. And you're using literally the exact same storyline. And the funny thing is, Jean Grey made fun of X3 in the film. It was a great moment. It was very self-referential. It was wonderful. But then you literally go and lead her down that same path. So I didn't get it. Apocalypse, same thing. This whole Egyptian gods, transferring his consciousness from being to being. It's just like, why are we even doing this? Again, I mean, I guess it's more realistic, but it's just, I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like Apocalypse's origin story at all. So if you're still here, my recommendation is still a full price ticket. Just because I had a good time, even though I had quite a few problems. Plus, the score is so good. And there is an after credits sequence. So stay all the way through the credits so you can see that after credit sequence. Get yourself prepared and set up for the next X-Men film. So again, full price ticket. I had a good time. I think if you're an X-Men fan, you will be nitpicking a lot. But it's still a good enough movie. It's well crafted enough to keep you entertained and to keep the overall complaints down and the enjoyment up. So that has been my review of X-Men Apocalypse. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see X-Men Apocalypse? Have you already seen it? What did you think? And which one is your favorite X-Men film to date? Let me know in the comment section down below or hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!